So you see, it had to go into a mucous membrane.
Oh, yes.
So, of course,
Yeah.
he stuck it up her nose,
Yeah,
which would have been, I mean, let's be honest, that would have been easy. It would have been awkward.
It would have been funnier.
And I know there was a line about that, sort of acknowledging, oh, okay, I'll just stick it up her nose. But it would have been less crass.
Or crap.
Yeah.
Both of those
Welcome!
things.
Welcome to Big Damn Crap. I mean crass. I mean cast with me, your host, Bib Fortuna.
And I am Jabba the Hutt.
Wanawanga.
That's what Big Fortuna says.
We need a salacious crumb. Just hang out in the corner. We're here to talk about stuff that doesn't really matter, but we're gonna die one day, so screw it. Let's fill it with mindless trivia in the interim.
Let's try and be happy. Please, God, let's try and be happy.
Oh my word!
I'm gonna fiddle with this mic stand.
I should hope so too.
But
But whilst you're doing that, what's on the menu for today's episode?
The menu for today, we're going to talk about new glimpses we've had of The Punisher.
Oh yeah.
And Jumanji. Welcome to the jungle. We're also going to talk about it getting a sequel.
Mhm.
It, not it. The definite. It's definite article. I'm gonna tell you.
You might say.
I'm gonna tell you, Christopher,
Oh,
what I thought of the first episode of Star Trek Discovery. We're gonna tell them, the listeners,
You lot.
what we thought
Yeah.
about Kingsman, the Golden Circle.
oh! Spoiler alert.
We're gonna visit Rick and Morty Corner,
Yes.
and then we're gonna do the audience's emails. So. And the award for Best Use of Music in a Trailer 2017 goes to Netflix for The Punisher, with One by Metallica soundtracking this percussive trailer, shall we say.
Gunshots to music.
There's not much to say, really, about the series. Like, we see characters and things, and he kills people and says things, and that's about it. So let's just watch it. But as a like a little tone poem
Yeah,
for what
I
this
think
is going to be, I
that's
think it set the tone really well. But,
that does it quite. Yeah, because MCU Netflix give good trailer.
yeah,
They give very good trailer. You get geared up by the
yeah,
trailer.
they even made Iron Fist look good.
Yeah, for the first 4 courses of their delicious buffet meal, that trailer was very accurately representative of the finished product.
Yes,
Iron Fist broke the mold. Defenders was also kind of not as... it wasn't the best mood board for what the series turned out to be.
and it was. Defenders and Iron Fist were both flawed.
Yeah.
Defenders less so, but
Again, great trailer though, using Nirvana and everything. Like, it just sort of sets the tone really well. And so, I'm not looking at this Punisher trailer and going, "That's exactly what we're gonna get." But damn, I hope it's what we get.
Yeah,
because it just looks like a Punisher story should look. It doesn't look like they've gone da-da-da, heroic superhero program, and it also doesn't look like they've gone. It's kind of black and white here, and there's a grey in the middle. No, it's just like this should look horrible.
Yeah,
It should look like a
is-
living nightmare, and we the viewers are not quite sure who's having it. Frank Castle or us?
he is a violent murderer,
Yeah,
and he kills everyone in sight. So yeah, I don't know when we're gonna get it. No release date yet. But
yeah, they keep teasing it.
all
They keep-
signs
we know it's this
pointing to
year.
November.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
believe,
surprised.
I don't think it's gonna be out next month. November, I reckon.
November, yeah. Unless they whack it out like end of October and go, there you go, here's your Halloween treat.
So I think they've
It's
already.
got a skull on it.
I think they've already revealed their
When are we getting
October
Thor?
lineup.
We're getting Thor October.
November 3rd.
Is it? I thought we got it slightly before for some
We
reason.
might do.
We sort of traditionally, the UK
Get it like
tends
a
to
week
get it like a
earlier.
week before.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm
So
not sure.
so late November then maybe for Punisher.
Yeah, maybe.
As like a palate cleanser for the adults before Star Wars Mania like kicks in full gear.
So excited. Speaking of excitement,
Frank Castle.
Jumanji.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jungle. Now you keep saying.
Is that its full title, or is it a Ghostbusters thing where it's basically called Jumanji, but they will
I
always
think
publish it with Welcome to the Jungle
I
underneath?
think it's called Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle.
Because they did that with Ghostbusters. It was Ghostbusters, and then on home video, it was renamed, but not officially, Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
I saw that in some of the pre-release promotion as well.
Well, it was the tagline originally, and then they just made it a subtitle.
But I think Jumanji's always been Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah. Well, no, I remember it was called Jumanji for a while. because that was the whole thing of, wait, is it a remake? And they went, no, it's a sequel. It's a sequel. So it's that whole the Thing prequel, for example, where that was called The Thing as well. And it's like, oh, for God's sake, just call it a new name. Yeah. But it's definitely a sequel. And out of the 2 new trailers we got, both American and international, well, worldwide, but primarily US and international. The international, the worldwide trailer actually suggests how this works as a follow up. It's not a sequel to Jumanji in terms of it being a sequel to the characters. It's a new story featuring the board game.
Yeah.
However, massive hint in the opening of this trailer.
Yeah.
That this video game that the new Jumanji movie is all about may actually be the board game. It's evolving to make sure it stays played.
Which makes sense.
Which then begs the question, where does this come from? This isn't a game that was made in like the sort of 20s and 30s, that the sort of the style of the jungle we're aware of in that movie represents, like with the Game Hunter and everything. No, this is an ever-changing living thing that needs to be played. So it's gone, right, my games. But then it also looks like it's slightly behind still, because it looks like a retro games console. It's an old school piece of tech.
Yeah. Wood panelling. Love a bit of wood panelling.
So in like 30, 40 years, it'd look more like a PlayStation 2, for example. Or it'd be an app. Jumanji the app.
There's an app for that.
How depressing.
It's a free-to-play game, though, so you'd have to wait an hour before you can do anything.
So when they first said, like, oh god, when they said, Jumanji's
best value,
Jumanji's going to be, it's a video game. I think we all sort of went, what? Because it does.
I didn't.
It does. Oh, I fucking did. Because it loses the whimsy of like the board game. That whole thing of opening this ancient looking, what the hell is this? And piecing it open and the spookiness of the pieces moving on their own and all these things. Like there's something about that was very much key to the spirit and why people really enjoy the feel of that original movie, because it isn't a great movie, but it's got some really good things in it, and because of that it's very fondly remembered. And that was one of the things, this mysterious board game. So I thought losing that would be a thing, but this trailer's suggesting it's the same thing. This is the board game, it's just changed shape, it's changed how you play it, and that sort of makes me feel a little less like, oh, they made it a video game. It's more like, oh, it made itself into, okay, now I'm interested because this board game appears to be sentient in more ways than we thought before. Plus, because I'm a picky sod. I like my whimsy. When you take the whimsy away and make it a bit more cold and modern, I always lose a bit of the attraction to it. But if there's a story reason, it's a little more palatable for me.
The story reason is that because that's what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
That's
I know, but then it seems the script, from what we've been suggested, has found a way to make it less just on the nose, cynical. We've just done it, and more, here's why that's happened. So if you're a kid who's never seen the other one, you're none the wiser. If you have seen the other one, you're like reassured. Yeah, that story isn't discounted. This is all part of the same thing for definite. The game is aware, but also it means that I've noticed as well, it being a retro console, the villains and the world that they're in when they're in the game. Because obviously, again, in this one, they're in the game, which is different from the original. Like, the villains in that aren't fitting the whole handlebar mustache, like, pith-helmeted villain of the first one.
No.
They're fitting more the 80s action movie kind of,
it's
like
a bit
Indiana Jones meets sort of like a Schwarzenegger sort of military flick. So, yeah, I kind of like the idea that the game adapts itself. That's intriguing. But enough about that. What about the trailer itself? I still think the selling points to me, the thing that makes me pretty damn excited to see it actually, is Jack Black playing a 15, 16-year-old mean girl in a 40-odd-year-old man's body.
No.
That's not the selling point to you?
No.
Do you think that's going to be annoying?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I mean,
it is a comedy. They are marketing it very much as a comedy rather than a fantasy movie.
I don't think it's going to be terribly annoying. It's just, it looks fine. It looks alright. It looks like I'm having a bit of a laugh, and that's about as excited as I'm getting about it. It looks alright.
I'm finding myself unusually excited considering I'm skeptical. And I don't hold Jumanji like dear in my heart.
Yeah, which is why I was confused about that, why you seem to be so apologetic about looking forward to this.
It's less a love for the original source material, more a love for that era's kind of fantasy movies. Like Jumanji sort of feels like it's part of the same group as like the early to early 80s onwards, kind of that realm of, Return to Oz and Labyrinth, and it kind of feels part of that family. It's sort of maybe like the last great 80s fantasy movie. Just happened to be in the mid to late 90s that it came out.
I don't believe you.
Fair play. But like, I have a love for that genre.
No, I get what you mean.
Your Princess Brides, your never-ending stories. Like, I have a real, because they touch on those traditional themes and elements,
and they've got
mysticism.
It has got CGI in it, but it's got enough of that puppety charm.
Yeah. I mean,
it makes it
like
feel like
some
that.
of the animals are animatronics and real animals, and you've got like the plant and stuff like that, where it's these very real things, and it. But you also have the dawn of the new era of special effects, albeit not in the most refined way.
Monkey Child!
But definitely 1,000 times better than Lost in Space, which came out after that.
Oh god, Lost in Space is terrible.
I love you, wife. Cool, do you want to show any emotion, mate?
Oh, man.
But yeah, William Hurt there, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, and Gary Oldman hamming it up as a Spider-Man.
So good.
So
good.
And a daughter with a weirdly creepy, like, Jennifer Tilly meets the tiny woman from Poltergeist voice.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing her or anything else.
Or if you did, she was dubbed in ADR. Speaking of ADR, there was a weird moment where Karen Gillan says something in, I think it's the international trailer, and
she's clearly saying something else.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
I'm
dodgy dubbing creeping in movies lately.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit. I'm looking forward to... You're saying editors are getting lazy? I'm looking forward to seeing these four bounce off of each other.
Yeah.
Because The Rock is basically a freaking charisma machine. Like, and so him playing a character here who isn't a charisma machine pretending to be a charisma machine is going to be kind of fun.
I don't think he's going to be able to not be a charisma machine.
That's true. Kevin Hart, and he did a really fun job in Central Intelligence last year, so I do look forward to watching them bounce off each other again. Jack Black I always enjoy, even if the film is mediocre and doesn't always forgive the movie. I saw 10 minutes of Gulliver's Travels and I wanted to vomit myself to death. And good old Karen Gillan in a first kind of proper leading role in a family thing. Like, she's either been covered in prosthetics and playing a baddie, or, has been in small horror movies or indie films.
Still
it's
not seen Oculus.
Oculus is worth a watch. Take it after this. Take it home.
No, it's on Prime.
Oh.
I'm just not going around to watching it.
Too good for my discs, are you?
Yeah.
Fair play.
I've got so many discs, Christopher.
Speaking of Oculus, I carried on my movie meme the other day. I realised I hadn't finished.
I want less discs in my house. Yeah, your movie meme is very impressive. 210?
I think 217 was when I last looked at it, and I've just posted 207 or whatever. Keeping in mind though, when I started 2 months ago, I was hammering at it for days, and now I'm going, oh yeah, I never finished it, so I'll just add a few more.
Fair enough.
I brought it up because Oculus was in there, and I couldn't find a good enough GIF for it. I was really annoyed.
Jumanji.
No.
Looks alright.
Yeah, looks pretty fun. Surprised, weirdly.
Yeah. Looks okay. Looks fine.
I'll have a giggle.
We'll go see it, and we'll tell you what we think.
Yeah. Right now.
Well, no, it's not out yet.
Later.
It! Chapter 2.
Yes.
Confirmed.
For Death.
September
For reals?
29th?
Family Ding Dong.
2019?
September 9th, I think.
September 9th,
yeah, early
2019.
September, same as this one. They want to get it out there pre-Halloween season so that it can still be creeping out of the sewers of the box office by the time Halloween rolls around. I would not be surprised if it goes up again financial success-wise just before Halloween. It'll definitely be playing still. Absolutely.
Not confirmed whether Andrea Muschietti and the writers and such are returning, but
he has talked about developing it.
They've already got plans, so I would assume that they are, and also the child cast will be returning for flashbacks, I would imagine. And we were having a bit of a chinwag before the podcast about casting.
Potential actors to play the roles of the children.
Still pretty sold on Jessica Chastain for Bev.
Yeah. Oh, there was one of the suggestions you threw in before that made me... Molly Ringwald.
You
found out that she's roughly the age, a bit older than the character's
49.
age, but doesn't look 49, looks closer to 40.
Yeah.
And of course, at one point in the movie, Richie calls Bev
Molly
Ringwald. It's like, oh my god, that would be...
Can you imagine?
Meta as
so meta.
Fuck. People were saying, and I would be interested to see this, but I think it would be a little distracting. Seth Green as Richie, since he played Richie as a kid in the miniseries, so it would be this weird sort of full circle thing.
Yeah, that being said, I can't see
Seth, because that's the thing.
These
actors
have got growing up into Seth Green.
That's the thing. These actors have got to play older versions of established characters by some damn fine young actors who did a great job. So it can't just be oh, it's now this person, and this is how this character behaves. It's like, no, they've got to play the character, keeping that performance from the younger actor in mind the whole time. That being said, I still stand by my belief that it should be actors who aren't like poster names. Like, I mean, you know, obviously they can have a fine body of work, but I think if they were poster names, it'd be distracting. So it needs to be. Jessica Chastain's like perfect. Jessica Chastain is, you know, damn famous, fine performer, but like she's not the marquee name that sells a movie.
Isla Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, out of those two, Jessica Chastain.
Oh God, yeah, she runs away with it by
closer. Country Mile. Unless you want Isla Fisher to play like Stan. Just like,
yeah, why not?
So you're a bloke now. So that being said, Patrick Wilson as Bill.
Patrick Wilson for Bill.
Yeah.
James Franco, does he fit in there anywhere?
I think James Franco sort of escapes an A-list poster name, yeah. Then again, we'll have to wait till see how the Disaster Artist does, because I think that might change things a bit.
Yeah.
James Franco is who are you thinking?
I don't know.
Just James Franco.
Yeah.
James Franco as the leper.
I'm still unsure.
We don't need any makeup or special effects.
I'm still unsure. He just looks like he smells, doesn't
Just turn up how you'd normally dress.
Like, oh, I'm wearing everything is made of hemp.
Oh, cool.
I'm smoking my clothes.
CGI out your nose, give it CGI out your nose, give him the little Voldemort green triangle. Cool,
Brilliant.
there
Cool,
we go.
awesome.
You're the leper.
Who else would we pitching around?
We were talking about Benny. We said like Benny's actor, because spoiler alert for the second half of the story of It. Benny trims up and becomes a really successful real estate like developer.
He's an
architect. Yeah. Somebody gets like trimmed, like not necessarily. He's not like, you know, freaking, you know, Charles Atlas, but like he sheds the pounds and everything, and becomes much slimmer. So that being said, every article that's been talking about potential casting always goes like, oh, Chris Pratt should do it. It's like, no, Chris Pratt's too big, and the only reason you're casting him is because you're thinking, oh, because Chris Pratt did that, didn't he? He was a big guy, and now he's not a big guy. So it's like, that's not why you should play the part. You touched on Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
I would buy that. Because we know he can be a dramatic actor, but he comes from a comedic background, which means he can bring that warmth that Benny definitely has. Although he's kind of lost that warmth.
I watched Bedazzled the other day.
Yeah, I remove my endorsement of anything you say from now on. That's a terrible movie.
It's terrible.
I don't care how tight Liz Hurley's dress is. That's a terrible movie.
It's terrible, but he's pretty funny.
He's very funny in it, though, yeah. I mean, it's terrible material, but he does the best of it. But that's what I'm saying. Benny isn't the nice, lovable kid we meet in part one when we meet him again as an adult at first.
Absolutely not.
The old Benny starts to shine through. So an actor like Brendan Fraser, who everyone's kind of, you know, surprised to see in something like this size again, would be an interesting touch. Because he could play, like, sort of slightly douchey, you know, architect and successful guy and this, that and the other.
Yeah.
And then as his sort of walls break down and he becomes both vulnerable and, like, warm again, you just reintroduce the Brendan Fraser that we all fell in love with in the late 90s, early 2000s. Do you know what I mean?
That'd be nice.
Which would be lovely. Brendan Fraser is great, and it sucks that he's not in stuff. It really sucks. I mean, to be fair, like, being in films like that freaking one with all the animals and that is probably doesn't help.
Jason Bateman?
Oh, as Eddie
or Ben?
He's got Eddie's face. He does have a very similar face to Eddie, the
face.
younger Eddie.
Freddie Prinze Jr. for his Stan.
I would say,
cameo.
as a man who enjoys his voice work, that would be a waste of Freddie Prinze Jr.
Would you boom as Richie?
But as yeah, because he can sort. Well, we've not seen them exhibited properly, but I'm gonna put. I would never pull this out as a card as an example ever in any other scenario. Brace yourself, ladies and gents. Take a shot if this ever happens before.
I'm ready.
Look at his work in the magnum opus that is Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Freddie Prinze Jr. plays the role of Fred, or Freddy, in those two movies. Now, that Fred is nothing. That Fred is nothing like Fred in the cartoons. He's this weird, egotistical, smug, like, sort of, you know, he's very aware of how sexy he is. It's like, this isn't Freddy. No. Like, what the hell? Freddy's just like the really nice guy who's just like, you know, the dashing, like, hey, hi, how you doing? He's the all-American, like, kid. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
his role in the cartoon.
Yeah.
And you can get some great comedy from the straight-facedness of that. The movies, they made him this weirdly sort of like, yeah, check me out, and a bit leery. There's the bit where he's in Daphne's body, and he's like, I can look at myself naked. And you're like, this isn't Freddy. But there is this weirdly charming sleazeball character in there. Which, yes, Richie's not a sleaze, but he obviously...
kind of is, though.
He winds people up. It's that kind of filthy jokes.
He's always talking about his dick.
Especially this iteration.
I mean, he is 12, so...
Everything he's saying is like a cock joke or a
Yeah.
your mama joke or a sleeping with your sister joke, like things like that.
I'll show you a staph infection.
I think Freddie Prinze Jr. could do that quite well.
How about Danny...
Especially because he's meant to be obviously a mature adult who, but then again, based on if they're going off the book and everything, he's got like a radio show, hasn't he? Like Richie Tozier is a popular disc jockey and host.
Yes.
In the TV series, they make it more
he's a
stand-up.
He's a terrible stand-up.
Yeah. but there's that whole thing of the confidence yet still being kind of shit.
Yeah.
He could play that quite well. Plus, damn fine voice actor and just nice for voice actors to play more things.
Danny Masterson for Stan.
Whom? Let's have a look at him. What do I know Danny Masterson from?
Dracula 2000.
Face Off. I want to take his face. Yeah, I mean, again, like, in a short-ish role, he does kind of look like the kid in the first one.
Yeah, first bit a bit.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Stan isn't in the story very much in the second part of it. So, it'd be probably better to cast somebody who sort of has more of the physical resemblance and essentially can just play the fear. Like, that, especially in that one moment of, oh my god, no, oh my god, no, never again, no, absolutely not. I wish I knew the kids' names properly because they're all excellent. They deserve that, damn it. But the lad who played Stan in the first one sells that so well. They do such a good job sowing that seed in the first movie.
Yeah.
Of like, Stan is clearly never coming back to Derry. He never in a million years is he going to do that. Like, he's the one who gets the worst experiences.
Yeah.
Based on how he handles it and what happens to him, and yeah. So, whoever's playing Stan's just got to believably play. No, never again.
I had a couple of other thoughts.
Oh, meat.
But I've gone
What about Mike?
Because you were talking. That's what I was going to say. Mike, Terrence Howard or Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Cuba Gooding would be great.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard would be great too, but I think Cuba Gooding sort of has a slightly older face, and as Mike is the one who stays in Derry, pretty much remembering it the whole time. Does he remember everything the whole time? Or
Yeah.
Because he looks into it. Well, obviously in the books he's the researcher. But like we were saying the other week, you could have it that Mike basically carries on Benny's research or whatever. Like he decides to look more into Derry's history, and that's how you could find out more. Cuba Gooding Jr. is could be believably 40, but he could be believably older than 40.
Also, looking at Chosen Jacobs, I think he looks more like he could grow into Cuba Gooding rather than Terrence Howard.
Yeah, there's a bit of a resemblance there. It's sort of the way, like, his cheeks, isn't it? It's sort of like the rounder face and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Terrence Howard's got a rounder face, but he's not got the right features.
Yeah. Whereas Cuba Gooding, like, because he could believably play 40 or older than 40, he could play a 40-year-old who is freaking haunted by this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's having to keep a very brave face, knowing that there is a ticking clock on Derry, and that in 27 years' time, this thing might possibly come back. And Cuba Gooding Jr., I think, could handle that. He could handle the weight of that.
Yes.
Plus, he's also, like, he was poster material 10, 15 years ago. Now less so it isn't a distraction by having him in it.
In terms of people that Andrew Machetti's worked with before...
Yes. I mean, Jessica Chastain, top of the list. Absolutely.
Also in Mama, Nikolai Coster-Waldau from Game of Thrones.
Right.
Jaime Lannister.
Yeah. Is that his real name?
Nikolai Coster-Waldau, yeah.
What a great / terrible name. I love it. It's terrible because you'll never remember it and it will waste most of a tweet.
But yeah, do you think he could fit in as maybe a grown-up Henry, if Henry's still alive? Or maybe Tom, Beverly's...
Oh, grown-up Henry!
Beverly's abusive partner?
I'd give him Henry.
If Henry survives, that is.
Oh, Henry survived. Henry has survived. Did you see him die on screen? No, he's alive. Henry is alive, probably crippled to fuck, probably spent 27 years being the personal feed bag of a horrible monster.
Yeah, maybe.
Which means you need to have someone who can play, like, I am no longer human. I am an intense, fucked up meat sack that wants to murder things, and I'm terrified of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, what's his name? Ex-Tapalapa
Let me look up the exact spelling of it.
Go on, what's his name? No, not the spelling, just the name. Just the name in full.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
Blomfell Foch Pasamir Day Lannister. Okay,
Yes.
I think he could do that quite well. As long as he keeps the haircut.
Yeah,
And it's shock white.
yeah, maybe.
It's a mullet and it's shock white. And I'll be happy.
Actually, looking at him now, he'd probably make a pretty good Stan.
Go on. Let's have a look at the picture. Look at. Oh, well, yeah, but he'd be in and out then, wouldn't he, of the story? That's the problem.
He's Danish.
Bless you.
And he's 47.
Bless you.
So he's the right age.
He should play Henry.
Yeah.
Henry's pitch is older than those guys, a bit older, and
maybe.
because Henry's features were quite soft. He had quite a soft face for a stern bully, and his are a lot sharper.
Does he have a kind face?
No, he has the face of a man with a mullet and a knife.
Yeah, I mean, those are some ideas. We're bouncing some ideas around. I'm sure they're drawing up contracts as we speak.
Very cool.
Because they want to get that. They want to get that into production.
Get that clown money. Get that Pennywise money.
Oh yeah.
Dollar bills with Tim Curry's face on one side and Bill Skarsgård's on the other.
Now, moving away from it.
Must we?
Must we? Guess what popped up on Netflix this last week? Star Trek Discovery.
Oh.
The first Star Trek TV series for
Okay.
about...
I thought you were going to say it, the miniseries.
For about...
Enterprise was 2004, 2005?
Even talking about 13, 15 years, maybe?
Over a decade.
Over a decade.
And most importantly, it's a Star Trek series set in the original continuity
Yes.
of the TV shows we all grew up with.
I think set roughly a decade before the original series.
Yeah, so it's after Enterprise,
Yeah.
pre-TOS.
And I watched the first episode.
Yeah, because in the
yesterday.
States you have to pay money to hire a
In the
certain service,
States,
don't you, to watch it?
It is the flagship TV show for CBS All Access, which is CBS's proprietary streaming service, because every channel has one of those now.
Yeah. I believe they put the first... They like debuted the first episode though, like on CBS and stuff, to be like, here you go,
so, yeah,
now
yeah.
come and watch the rest of it by paying us some money.
And the first 2 episodes are on Netflix, with the new episode coming every Monday.
Yeah, whereas us lucky buggers in the UK and Europe
We
and whatnot
get
are
it
getting
on
it on Netflix.
Netflix.
So if you pay $6.99 for the one service, you don't have to pay $6.99 for another service before we all get $7.99 to death.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I
I only sing beautifully when I'm singing about being financially bankrupted by greedy corporate entities. Speaking of which, our
Nice.
sponsor this week is... No. I'm not going to throw any of them under the bus, because if they want to sponsor us, fair enough.
So, this show...
But do you really, really need a freaking Fallout 4 bobblehead every month, Luke Craig? Damn it, I said their name!
It's pronounced look great. So, this show doesn't actually follow a captain of a starship.
Good.
It follows the first officer.
So you're Riker,
First-
you're Riker, you're Riker. Yeah, that's my basis for comparison. You're Riker.
First officer Michael Burnham,
Oh, wow.
a woman.
Called
A
Michael.
woman called Michael.
Fair enough.
Who...
Yeah, I've seen women called Michaels
Who's
before,
the
but she's
first
the surname.
officer on the SS Discovery,
Mm-hmm.
although the first episode, and I would imagine the second episode, I don't know what's seen it yet, she's not on the Discovery yet. She's actually on the USS Shenzhou, captained by...
Well, this is already breaking thingy by it being like the one character's story full stop, rather than being story of that ship, focusing usually on the captain as the central character.
Well, maybe.
That's nice.
No,
but this is cool. That's also already a new, exciting way for them to do it.
And the Shenzhou is captained by Michelle Yeoh's Georgie Philippou.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Philippou?
Yeah, because that was part of the confusion we got when we watched the trailer. We were like, I thought Jason Isaacs was the captain in this show. Well, this makes sense. We don't start off with that ship. Awesome. I'm game.
No, Philippa Georgiou, wrong way round.
Question. Any of the ships that have appeared so far, are they a big disc with 2 little pokey bits sticking out the back?
The Shenzhou is a big dish with... That's the Shenzhou. That's
Oh, it's a very traditional Star Trek, like, but a bit white, sort of bit wider.
They're a bit more over. They're a bit close to the Enterprise designs
Yeah.
than the original series designs.
Which I wonder if that was a nice conscious decision where
Yeah.
we're going to see them become a little more simplified and grey, and
especially
slick.
in the uniforms.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I thought that when I first saw the uniforms,
Yeah.
I was like, are they just Enterprise?
They're Enterprise uniforms.
But again, yeah, they're meant to. It's set between that and the original, so they have to be the transition.
You've got Doug Jones as Science Officer Saru, who's an alien in lots of prosthetics.
Doug Jones in prosthetics.
Doug Jones.
I don't believe you. I
So
don't believe you, sir.
Sonequa Martin Green plays Michael Burnham, and she's fantastic. Basically, she's
A lady.
she's a human.
Whoa! She's a lady.
I'm staring at you so hard right now.
And it makes me so hard.
She plays a human who was orphaned by Klingons and raised by Vulcans.
Wait, so she's Klingon?
No, she's human.
Oh,
She was
her-
orphaned by Klingons.
Right, got you. Okay.
And raised by Vulcans. Listen to the words I'm
Yeah.
fucking saying, Christopher!
I'd just like to say, in his moment of improvised rage, he was courteous enough to lean back from the microphone. Which sort of shattered the illusion slightly, because I was like, "Oh, good mic technique, technique."
Because I'm a professional, dear boy.
It's like, oh yeah, we're doing a podcast. All right, okay, that's yeah.
No, yes. So she's kind of balancing the not to the same in the same way as Spock did.
Yeah, but
But
it lends that perspective of slight cold logic is a part of her life.
Yeah, to that emotionality. So basically, in the first episode, what happens is that they're on a routine mission, and they have to go and repair a Federation communications thing which has been damaged.
Yeah,
and they think the damage might not be accidental.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out,
proceed with caution.
And it turns out there's the secret Klingon vessel. And it's the first time the Federation's had contact with Klingons in a century. And things are about to go very hot in that Cold War.
Yeah, now these Klingons, from what
they look
understand, is there's a different look, but they're making it very clear that it's like the species doesn't just have the one look. Like the original series, they just look like people. There was a certain sort of like colour scheme to the skin and the clothing and everything, with a bit of makeup here and there. But then obviously Next Generation was like, nope, they've got the ridges and the longer foreheads.
The famous ridged foreheads of Star Trek aliens.
And then the shit reboot design for the Klingons was just like they're wearing these helmets with ridges on the face and stuff because they appeared in Into Darkness briefly, which was a nice sort of, maybe we're going to get a bit of Klingon. No. Okay. Do these guys sort of behave out of whack, or is it because we're focusing on this specific kind of part of the species?
We've not seen any other Klingons apart from this small group of Klingons, and it's only the first episode yet. So
okay. Although
they certainly aren't like Klingons.
I believe subtitles are optioned to Klingon.
I believe so.
On Netflix.
Which is
great.
Klingon subtitles, but
it's so good. Like Netflix have basically jumped the gun and gone, we know someone's going to just do it on YouTube, so screw it. We'll give it to them now.
What all the Klingons do, which they don't always do in some of the other series, is all the Klingons talking Klingon when there's only talking to Klingons.
Right. Okay.
They don't speak any English. They just speak Klingon with subtitles.
Fair play. That makes sense. Which will be in Klingon subtitles. I wonder if when you watch it, the Klingon subtitles are English instead.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Just to mix it.
But it does that nice thing of like having long, unbroken scenes of just Klingons talking to other Klingons about Klingon things.
Okay.
Without any English in it.
Okay.
To make it very clear that these are aliens and this is their
I was going to say, does it flow well, or is it a bit kind of
No, it flows really well. It's really nicely placed,
Okay.
and it's a fucking great looking show. I mean, it's $8 million an episode.
Jesus!
So they've spent some
fucking
money on
Christ.
this, and it looks the business. It looks the dog's bollocks. It really
That is
does.
a freaking budget.
Yeah. So
well, Doctor Who's going to die again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doctor Who will be disappearing within the next 2 years, and everyone will be like, "Why's that happened?" It's like, well, we've seen Star Trek.
Yeah.
It looks so much better.
Yeah.
And
I really enjoyed
those of us who were alive in the late 80s and early 90s will be going, "It's happening again."
It's a 15-episode season that looks way better than anything Doctor Who's done since it returned.
Oh, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Well, Boomtown.
Yeah.
Boomtown, though.
Yeah.
Cardiff looks lush. So yeah.
Yeah. And if it's as well written as the first episode promises, then it's going to be pretty fucking good.
Good sign.
Yeah, like I say, the first two are on Netflix. I've only watched the first one. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing more.
This is comforting after a lot of controversy in the build-up to it, like actors sort of saying stuff that made people go, "Wait, what?" Jason Isaacs in particular was like challenging people who didn't want to watch it, and also saying he doesn't care about the fans. He's just like, I think he was the way when you read his comments, it's like he's basically trying to say, I don't care what anyone else is thinking. I just want to focus on bringing the script to life.
Yeah.
But the way he words it is, fuck everybody who's got reservations. I don't give a shit about them. It's like, oh, Jason, you should have worded that so much better.
It's not like Jason Isaacs
Because now,
be a dick.
there is a giant fan base.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
There is now a giant fan base who are preset to not like you.
It is like, in terms of tone, it is Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like, it is optimistic, multicultural Star Trek.
Yeah. It's about politics, it's about science.
Yeah.
There's some good and evil stuff playing there as well, but it's not the focus.
There is some action in it, and like, from what I've seen and heard of the first 3 episodes, it looks like it's going to be about the sort of ignition of the Klingon Federation war that we saw play out through the original series and right through the movies.
Yeah.
So it's going to have that military.
How's the theme song?
Not much of a theme song.
Is it kind of that weird short title sequence with an ominous chord?
No, it's got a full title sequence, but it's not grand and orchestral.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, because that's not necessarily the tradition of Star Trek. Like, the original series wasn't. The original series was very sci-fi.
Which Gene Roddenberry actually wrote lyrics for, or they never performed, so he could get a songwriting credit for it.
It's literally something like Star Trek out there in the sky.
Something like that,
yeah. It's they are out there. If you Google it, they're out there somewhere. Next Generation, of course, which really encapsulated that spirit of like, we're exploring space.
For me, it really encapsulates the spirit of 6 p.m. on a weekday after school.
Yes,
and it's time to watch the good TV.
And then eventually 6:22 p.m. because The Simpsons came on at 6.
Yes,
Simpsons at 6. Next Gen, Buffy, Fresh Prince, or Lois and Clark at 6:25.
So good. So good.
God, when BBC Two was a channel people watched every day. So that's good. Yeah, what was Voyager?
Voyager was much slower.
Was it that one?
No, that's Deep Space Nine.
That's Deep Space Nine. Voyager's was somewhere else.
I can't remember.
But yeah,
but they were like big
Enterprise was controversial.
And Enterprise was because Russell Watson.
Yeah, well, it was like sort of a country song.
It's been a long road.
It's a good song.
Getting from there to here.
But it was really jarring. It was really jarring.
But my time is finally here. I got faith in the stars. I'm going where my heart will take me. Yeah, it was alright.
Oh my god! I didn't expect that to be a full rendition.
It was the best
of times.
Thing about
It was
Enterprise.
the blurst of times.
That theme tune was the best thing.
But
about
it also felt reactionary.
Yeah.
In a world where we just cruelly had Firefly shown to us and snatched away.
So good.
It almost felt like they were going, oh, that show, like, people really loved it, and they had like a country western sort of inspiring theme song, and it's like, yeah, because the theme song sort of encapsulated what the show meant. And it was Mal's thought process basically as a very quiet country song.
I keep thinking I should go back and watch Enterprise, but then I remember it was shit.
My friend Neil lent me the box set once, and he basically went, right, because I'd never watched any of it.
Yeah.
He said, right, here's my recommendation: watch the first few, just sort of get a feel. You probably won't love it. He really likes it, but like he really likes all of Star Trek. He was like, you won't love it, but you'll get a feel. There might be stuff you enjoy, and then skip to Series 3 and watch this 2-parter, then skip to Series 5 and watch this episode, and this episode. Go. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He was like, you'll be giving that back to me in like a week, so and you'll have seen the best of.
Basically, one season's worth of good material in all of Enterprise.
Yeah. There's one where Brent Spiner plays the creator of the
they do a lot. They do a lot of that. Of like, this is stuff that
in these first in the first episode, there's some of that.
No, in Enterprise, they do a lot of that where it's like, this is stuff that we shouldn't really be touching on because it would contradict things that we know happen later.
Yeah,
but it's elements from later series that people like, so we're going to do it anyway.
There's Borg.
There's 2 Borg episodes,
which makes no sense because the Borg are very much a next generation era.
Sort of a First Contact sequel. With like,
but it's also a prequel.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Well, because it's set before First Contact in the present day, but after
Right.
First Contact in the past.
Okay.
So it's like the idea is it's like I think it's like I've not seen it, but I think it's like a thing pastiche with Borg at the North Pole or something.
Ah.
Because of course it is.
The Borg, I know the Borg obviously were in Deep Space Nine and Voyager, but like they very much belong to Next Gen in terms of the impact they made, especially the freaking what was it like Series 2 cliffhanger leading, and then which was Best of Both Worlds, which part 1 was the end of a season, and then part 2 was the start of the next season. So there was like a 9-month wait.
There was a lot of that in the 90s. The X-Files did that nearly every season after season 2.
Simpsons did it. I think Simpsons is the finest one in terms of the cultural phenomenon it became with Who Shot Mr. Burns.
There's at least 2 X-Files season finales that end on the cliffhanger of Mulder being possibly dead. At least 2.
Yeah. But...
if not more.
Oh god, they're dead. Oh no, it's fine, they're actually alive. What a terrible idea for anything.
Should we talk about Kingsman the Golden Circle now?
So, last Friday we settled down in the cinema in our local moving picture house.
Yeah.
And watched Kingsman the Golden Circle. Tiny bit of background. I really, really love Kingsman the Secret Service.
I don't really love Kingsman the Secret Service, but I really, really like Kingsman the Secret Service.
Ditto. Neither of us have read the source material.
No, because I don't read Mark Miller books.
No.
Neither does Mark Miller.
I still think you should... Hey! I still think you should read Marvel 1985. That's worth a read.
I'll probably read it.
But yeah, that was before he started to hate the world and everything around him, I guess. But
I think his recent work's been more optimistic. Things like Jupiter Ascending and Superior?
Jupiter Ascending?
Not Jupiter Ascending, Jupiter's...
Legacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jupiter Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending's pretty great. You should watch Jupiter Ascending.
Shut up. Like, you saying that means any opinion we now give on Kingsman 1 or 2 after this, they're going to be listening and going, what the fuck does he know?
Jupiter Ascending is an awful clusterfuck of a film, but it's really fun.
I think that's the message.
I think
that's the thing you need to keep in mind, dear listener, as we proceed with this review, that sometimes things can be bad, but there's still stuff to enjoy in the things that are bad.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, there is. There is. I'm sorry. There is stuff to dig, specifically one punchline, which we'll touch on in the spoiler section. But, yeah, so I genuinely really loved Kingsman the Secret Service. I think a lot of that was to do with Lucy was going in for a big operation on her knee on like Sunday, the 1st of February 2015, something like that.
Give the exact date, why don't you?
Well, it was something like that because I remember it very keenly because I was doing Shout Out Saturday that morning at CBBC, and then we met up, and because essentially she was going to spend the next 2 days in hospital and then to spend the next 4 weeks like couch bound for the most part.
Yeah.
Yes. We were like, well, if this is going to be your last chance to go to the cinema for like a month and a half, let's do a twofer. Let's double dip and see what's on. So we went to the View at the Lowry across from Media City, and we basically just picked 2 films. And those 2 films were 2 films that had come out in the last week. One was Big Hero 6.
Oh, so good.
And the other was Kingsman the Secret Service.
Pretty good.
And we came out of it going, wow, that was a really good double bill. Like, as a going to the cinema, like, throwing a freaking 2 darts at the wall and having a snack between it. Like, it turned out to be a really cool double bill.
That's a pretty fucking good pair right there.
So,
I reckon.
We obviously spent... enough of my breast, one of the movies. Oh. After, like, that...
Obviously, pair of plastic tits.
After that, we were sort of... It was like, wow, what a really... Like, we could have seen shitty films. So I've always loved it for that. And then when we got it on home video, I was like, no, I really, really like it. So the point I'm making is, like, you had fun with it. I really enjoyed it.
Jesus,
these were our expectations.
You went on so long.
Yeah. When a sequel was announced, these were our expectations of, oh, cool. Like, how were you feeling when you knew Golden Circle was a thing that was going to happen? Were you like, oh, cool? Or were you like, all right,
yes. Well, I'm down for a sequel.
Because I sort of felt, I'm happy that we're getting more of this world, but I enjoyed the first one so much, I know I will not enjoy a second one as much, whether because of their execution, or whether because it just doesn't have the same connection with me of, like, that really cool first viewing, etc. Same way, like, when I watch The Avengers, I get that feeling back of watching it that first week in a cinema, and that feeling that came with it. Day of the Doctor is not great, but there is it's good.
I think
and there's some really great stuff in it, but, like, it's one of those that, like, when I rewatch it, I still kind of get that feeling of I really like this because I remember watching it the first time.
But then
in
go
that
go
atmosphere.
to Avengers and then go
Yeah.
to Age of Ultron, and you see
Oh, yeah.
diminishing returns.
Absolutely, because the Age of Ultron doesn't have that same thing, and the stuff you do enjoy is more just the camaraderie rather than anything other outside of that. Because at least that's top notch.
But it is certainly a lesser sequel.
Yes.
Oh, I still quite like it.
It's good for Marvel. Marvel, in terms of the MCU, have not made a bad film.
Not yet.
They've made a couple of meh. They've made a few. Yeah, I guess it's fine. And then oh, these are really good, ranging from really good to fucking amazing, based on your opinion.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier's so good. Winter Soldier's
Guardians of the
best
Galaxy
one.
2.
And Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I think
Yes.
Winter Soldier and the two Guardians
absolutely,
movies are probably the best ones they've made.
See, one's good because of it comes out of nowhere and it's bonkers and all that stuff. Then two's really good because of it's a bonkers movie with real heart.
Yeah. Well, that could have been the formula Kingsman went with, because the first Kingsman was a bonkers movie that came the fuck out of nowhere.
And
disguised as a super slick spy movie with sort of a chavvy kid in it, and you're like, what's this going to be about? And you came out of it going, oh my god, that was a Roger Moore Bond film with an 18 certificate.
And this movie is bonkers also.
But the heart isn't there.
No.
So, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Last movie was a My Fair Lady, like that sort of story of the Prince and the Pauper in a way, like of bringing up someone from one background and getting them into it. Eggsy being the chav, who's sort of his life. He's clearly a bright kid. He's clearly got very good skills, but he's using them for crime. He's just he's got an abusive stepdad, and he's in a really shitty place. And then Harry sort of sees the talent he's got, and Harry's part of the Kingsman, this secret service. Say the fucking title.
Harry knew his father.
Harry knew his dad. Yeah, but he sees that that sort of ambition is very much present in Eggsy the son.
Yeah.
So it's this whole thing of, right, I'm bringing you into the fold. It's turning a chav into James Bond. And the missions that they go on are as elaborate and as weird as old school, very much Roger Moore era James Bond films, but the violence is shockingly real. Sometimes for cartoony effect, sometimes for blunt, oh fuck kind of reaction.
Yeah.
It's if someone did a Roger Moore James Bond comic book, knowing that kids weren't going to buy it, so they were a little edgier, that's kind of what the first Kingsman feels like to me. With a really nice character-driven narrative at the core of it. Eggsy's story is the heart and soul of that movie.
Although it does occasionally veer away from edginess and into edgelord territory.
Yes. I.e. the infamous line...
The bum note.
Yeah.
The bum note. Yeah.
A line which is very funny in its moment, but then the follow-up to it...
It isn't, though.
I don't know. I mean, again, comedy subjective. And it's not the most hilarious joke in the movie, and it's not a particularly hilarious joke in general, but I'm not upset by the whole, and if you save the world, we do it in the asshole.
You had to say it, didn't you?
Yes, because, for context, I find that funny simply because I remember that first time going, what? And his face is the punchline to me, not what she says. It's his sort of slight shock, then straight back to kind of, but all very subtle, straight shock, then back to sort of suave, and the whole delivery of, I will be right back. And then off he goes. That I enjoyed.
It's not funny.
It's the next bit that left me with a weird taste.
Yeah.
A weird taste in the mouth.
Not particularly offensive, just not funny.
No.
And a bit crass.
Yeah. But then again, you look back at those Roger Moore Bonds, they are kind of crass in those moments.
Watch them anymore.
I think what happens is, when they get to the edgelord territory, they stop being Roger Moore and they think they're Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because some of the sexual stuff in the Connery Bond movies and the sort of interaction with
sexual stuff in Bond in
women.
general still to this day.
Yeah,
it's
not
cool.
Yeah,
it's not cool.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, I think
it's cool
Skyfall, Casino Royale, and Skyfall. I think were the last ones I watched where I was like, okay, this doesn't feel creepy. This sort of feels like all the characters are very much a part of everything that's going on to them, and they're making decisions.
Sleeps with bad guys' wives, and then they get killed straight away after. And
does that happen in those two?
Happens in Casino Royale, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh shit, of course. But then again, like the stuff like in the shower, like they deviated. Normally in an older Bond film, it would have been like she's crying in the shower, and it would have led immediately to a sex scene.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And I was like, I respect that so freaking much. You guys are actually trying to change this a bit. This is good.
Then it's still.
But then Spectre does it.
Oh,
Spectre's
really bad for it.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, you've not learned. But anyway, Kingsman parodies that, but then occasionally parodies it in a way where they're almost getting there too. You almost get a sense that someone, be it Jane Goldman, the screenwriter, be it Matthew Vaughn, the director, be it whoever's editing, be it Mark Miller in the screenings, like going, yep, definitely do that. Someone sat there rubbing their crotch going, oh yeah, this is funny and hot. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not either of those things. It's just uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
There is several instances of that in this movie.
They've turned it up to 11.
Yeah, like they took that moment from the first film and they have brought it to the forefront in this, which is sad. Eggsy is still, I think, the heart and soul of the movie. Yeah. But last time we were with him, this time we're watching him in action. Like, we're observers now. We're not on a journey with him.
Yeah.
They play with the fact that he's a very real kind of guy in a make-believe world. Again, a bit more by bringing some interesting tropes. Like, there is a bit in this where they do the old James Bond trope of he's got to sleep with the enemy's partner to learn something, or more than that. We'll get into that, don't you freaking worry. They certainly got into it.
Oh.
But, like, there was a unique spin on that where he's feeling guilty and he goes to the bathroom first and phones his girlfriend to basically ask her permission, saying, I don't want to do this, but I have to. But if you don't want me to do it, I will stop. I'll find another way.
By the way, Princess Tilda from the end of the first movie.
Yeah. Which the two of them try very hard to make really sweet. But it just feels weird, because it's like, wait, the bumhole girl, the butt sex girl, this is the love interest that we need to take seriously and emotionally invest in. Really?
Especially when they do a callback to it later on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Which I think I would have almost forgiven had his response to her saying it been like, come on, babe, that's inappropriate. Like, sort of referencing how people reacted to it without... I would have gone sort of, okay, you're acknowledging you made a boo-boo, but then we would have still had the Glastonbury scene.
And I think, from what I've seen and read of interviews from the cast and crew and stuff like that, I think Taron Egerton's not that into that side of the character.
You watched the Mark Commode review, didn't you? Because he watched that and he says, I get a feeling Taron Egerton didn't like that. And I was like, what does he mean? And I did the same as you. I went and watched the listened to the Taron Egerton interview.
And then but then reading like stuff with Matthew Vaughn, Matthew Vaughn is very much into that stuff.
Yeah. Matthew Vaughn is the guy who decided Angel had to be a stripper in First Class, pretty much. Like, this is sort of coming out. And I think it's a mix of Matthew Vaughn and Jane Goldman. I think they have a style because it's very much present in the sixth movie. Well, not the sixth. Stardust doesn't really have it.
No.
But
I think that's more to do with the source material.
Yeah, the Kick-Ass movies, the Kingsman movies, and X-Men First Class. It's definitely present in all of them. That stuff
is also present to a degree in Kick-Ass and Kingsman, the source material, because it's Mark Miller.
Because it's Mark Miller. Now, there are suggestions of stuff like that in First Class, which obviously was bound to the X-Men universe, but there's still these hints.
There's plenty of that.
Like they don't really do the Hellfire Club, but Emma Frost is still walking around in that like weird corset cape thing with her tits up all the time.
It's January Jones, isn't it?
Who is fucking terrible in that movie.
Awful.
So bad in the movie. But anyway, like, it's this whole... But exactly, it's like, why would she be in there? Why is she in the marketing? Like, why would you put focus on performance that isn't very good? Unless, of course, they're getting a kick out of how she looks. And well, unless they're getting a kick out of the vibe of the character and the look of the character, because it's the only way in an X-Men movie they could sort of go, well, let's put something a bit sordid in there.
Yeah, this right.
There is a greasy feeling to these films.
This is what I'm going to say on Kingsman Golden Circle before we get into spoilers, because I need to get spoilers.
Because you guys are probably thinking, those of you who haven't watched it who just want us to give a review pre-spoiler, you're probably thinking, why are they just going on about how uncomfortable it makes you feel? It's because this is such a dominating tone.
This is what I'll say about Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Yeah,
there is fun stuff in this movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's, as a film, it's okay.
Yeah.
But it is not as good as the first one, and the good stuff in it is overshadowed by structural flaws, being too similar to the first one, and this sort of greasy, sleazy smear over the whole thing that just
It makes you feel like you didn't sit in a cinema screen to watch it. You handed it in a brown paper bag to the projectionist, and then you've gone in to watch it yourself. In a way,
it's top shelf, not in quality, but in content.
It's the perfect archetypal sequel in a franchise. It's not as good as the last one, and overindulges in the stuff it thinks you want to see.
If you're a horny 14-year-old boy who thinks that it's cool to go on Twitter and respond to things by saying stuff like "lol triggered" and shit like that, you'll have a whale of a time. You'll have the best time.
If you were a big fan of the first, there is definitely stuff here to enjoy. I say that as someone who has outright said, I love the first movie.
Yeah, absolutely stuff here to enjoy.
And I am glad I saw it.
Yeah.
And tonal issues and taste issues, like it getting fixed or down the line.
Yeah.
If we were to get a Kingsman movie every 2 years and it become an almost James Bondian franchise, as long as they tweaked those things and made it feel less dirty, I would happily have 3-star pictures, you know what I mean, in this world every 2 years.
But also, like, structurally, it's a bit of a mess.
It felt like a Roger Moore Bond to me in that sense. Like, it was
Which
world hopped in a way. Yeah.
Structurally, a bit of a mess.
Yeah. So, if it's going to carry on, it needs to find its own identity and give more winks and nods to the things it's parodying and based on. So I know I agree with you there.
I think it's doing the GTA thing of stopping being the thing it's satirising and just actually becoming. Stop satirising something and actually becoming the thing it's satirising. Like it's doing that.
That's the 80th time you've slagged off liberals there, game. You starting to feel like you're actually hating on liberals. Full stop now.
Doing the South Park. South Park's doing the same thing.
I find it more uncomfortable in South Park than I do GTA.
I'm really uncomfortable with a lot of the stuff.
But only because GTA is that one thing that's contained within that 30 hours where South Park keeps going
I'm really uncomfortable about some of the stuff that's coming out about Fractured Butthole. Not because I find it particularly offensive, just because I think it's not being handled very well.
It's like by taking the piss out of something in that way where they're doing it, it's getting to the point where you're like, we know you don't believe in the thing you're taking the piss out of, but it almost feels like your product is becoming that now.
Yeah.
You've pretended to be it so much. So yeah, like you say, if this keeps being Roger Moore with this extra dirty, greasy
thing... It's just becoming Roger Moore.
It's gonna be that. Yeah. I give it 3 stars because it's a very well-made movie with a lot of fun bits in it. It is really nice seeing some characters again, specifically Merlin, Mark Strong.
Yeah.
It is nice you feel genuinely Merlin and Eggsy's elation when this ain't a spoiler, it's in the trailers, when you see Harry again. Like, that is the interplay between those three during that, especially from Eggsy and Merlin.
Apparently Matthew Vaughn
is a lot of fun.
Very hard for it not to be in the trailers.
Yes, he did.
But
because
Fox will be Fox.
Yeah, but at the same time, we'll get into this in spoilers, but I almost, as lovely as it is to see Colin Firth in that role again, even though he's sort of not quite the same, and there's a reason for that, I would still rather him not have been in it, because it sort of cheapens something that I loved about the first film. Like, it's one thing you can say about Mark Millar's work and Matthew Vaughn's work, whether it be for good or bad, they've got balls, in that they go, fuck it, do it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Now, it isn't always for the best reasons.
No.
Other than, people will talk about this, it's shocking. But Harry's death in the first Kingsman was ballsy, because it wasn't even it was at the end of the second act.
Yeah.
And he was the thing during that, as the movie was going on. The movie was very much made up of 2 central pieces. Eggsy's story, and how fucking cool Harry was.
Yeah.
And then Harry's gone. So it's like, oh my god, so you go along with Eggsy in that slightly vengeance-driven, defeat of the bad guys in the third act.
Yeah.
Bringing him back kind of cheapens that a bit.
Yeah.
Now you could obviously imagine they are separate entities, and this is a what if? What happened next? Maybe, which is a nice way to think about it if you especially like characters who are shat on, such as Roxy, or Michael Gambon is the new leader of the Kingsmen in this movie. Yeah. He's the new Arthur. There is not enough of these 2 characters in the movie, and it's like, well, that sucks, because it would have been great to see Michael. They've obviously cast Gambon the same way they cast John Hurt in Doctor Who. Yeah. We need someone who would believably go, of course they'd be in this position.
Yeah.
and like Roxy, especially after her story sort of is a subplot, and then she comes back to take part in the really cool finale in the first one. You are geared to see more of her, and her story is not in this one. And that sucks. The Statesmen are introduced, an American version of the Kingsman.
Yep.
Again, they have cast it with actors to make you go, of course they'd be in that role.
Yeah.
And then they are not utilised.
Well, let's get into spoilers then, so we can talk about
Well,
something else.
yeah, okay. One final thing. Julianne Moore is clearly having fun playing the villain. She is not utilised.
No, I enjoy her performance.
Mhm.
She is tremendously poorly written.
Yeah. And they're just underused. They're underused. Like, I would forgive slightly terrible dialogue writing, will we at least see more of them? Because then the actor could at least kind of get across their interpretation of the character that's in there. There are some really nifty set pieces, like the cab chase at the beginning is really freaking cool.
But
like the black cab chase, it goes a bit too long. Yeah, for an introductory sequence, it goes on too long.
Yeah.
But there's some nice stuff in there, and it's a freaking Prince song as well, but this is rare because, like, now that he's passed away, the laws on the use of his music are looser, so people are going, fuck it, I want a Prince song in the movie.
I'll never top Batman.
Yeah.
For use of Prince songs.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because they barely use them. They're just in the background. Apart from Party Man and Trust. Party Man and Trust are, like, all up in that his A. And the rest of them are just hidden. Like, The Future's playing on a stereo at the beginning in the background. I was like, what?
So good.
Great album. Taron Egerton is again the reason why it's, I think, worth a visit if you like the first one, because he is so very watchable. I kind of hope this is his last one. For the future of the franchise, if they are going to go forward, I think it would be sensible to not bring Eggsy along. I also want to see Taron Egerton in other things.
Yeah.
Because he's freaking great.
He's doing Robin Hood next.
Yes, he is, but still, I want him to be in some more
Also
original. I want him to be in original,
Yeah.
original things. Like this, watching this has made me go, right, I need to get my finger out my arse. I need to watch Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah.
I need to watch it because I want to see him in more things. And this was a freaking tiny little, sort of the independent movie that could, like, it's a tiny little sports movie that stars Taron Egerton and Hugh Jackman.
Well, it's not that independent because Matthew Vaughn produced it.
Yeah, but it was one of those quiet release, like January sneak it out.
Oh, yeah.
But like it makes me want to see more of him. There is a really freaking cool sort of series of fights in the final act that are very enjoyable to watch.
But go on a bit too long.
And they underutilise the actors, overutilises our nostalgia for the most impressive set piece from the first movie, because suddenly everything is shot the same as the church sequence from the first movie now.
Yeah. And it's really distracting.
It's really distracting. It doesn't suit everything. No. Had they saved it for the very last physical altercation in the movie, I think it would have worked better, because we all would have been like, yeah! Like, stick it to the bad guys. One of the statesmen, I can't remember the actor's name, but the fella from Narcos and Game of Thrones, Pedro Pascal. I think he's probably outside of the three we know, he's probably the best other performance in the movie. Because he's sort of like, wow, like you could imagine there being a separate statesman film, set in the past or whatever, where he would be your lead. Do you know what I mean? He'd be the freaking cool lead.
I mean, he's just really good.
Yeah.
Like,
so, brace yourself for some robots. And 3-star for me. If I had to sum it up in a noise,
I'll give it 2.
Fair play. Everyone will go, that's a horrible review. That's 4 out of 10. That is not a low score. It's a lower score.
It is a low score.
But it's close to average. So there you go.
Let's get into spoilers.
Let's do spoilers.
My teeth into this.
Or your finger into it, rather.
Look, the Glastonbury scene is fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the tent specifically. I think the bit before it's quite funny because it shows that this charming little chap kid is still charming. Like, he can go up to like a really posh, has her own massive tent set up at Glasto like chick and woo her so effortlessly because he's just a charming guy. Then it gets into the tent. So Eggsy has to insert a tracker into this woman. This woman is the girlfriend of Charlie, which I thought was a nice touch.
Bring Charlie back as the sort of henchman in this.
Yeah, he's the henchman to the villain. Turns out his head... And I think their explanation for why he didn't die was, like...
Yeah.
I wonder if they did that on purpose. Like Charlie in the last movies, obviously he's got the chip in his head or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's there. Then he's the one who uncovers what Eggsy's doing in the lair at the end of the last one, and Eggsy like electrocutes him with the watch or whatever, takes him out. This movie reveals that when that happened, Eggsy shorted out the chip in his head. So when everyone's head blew up in the last one, which again, like in the last one, it's that weird, slightly sinister, like slightly macabre feeling to everything. Like hundreds of thousands of people's heads exploded in the first one.
Yeah.
But it's cool because they were all dickheads who were willing to sell out everyone else to die.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's but even Obama, like it's not Obama, but it's suggested to be Obama dies, or like a British royals die and all this stuff. But basically, the electric thing shorted out his chip, so he's still alive. Cool little note, because it means he can come back in this with his arm blown off, and now a robot arm, and he looks more like a sort of a chav. Like they sort of, when he first appears, they dress him specifically to look chavvy, when he was the posh, like, the sort of, Oxford, Cambridge boy in the last one.
Prick.
So that was kind of a nice touch, but it's his girlfriend, and it's a spy trope turned modern. Like they find out where she is. They know she's his girlfriend because she's like Instagram pictures of them together, and she instas everywhere she goes, so they know where to find her to put the tracker on her.
Yeah,
that was a neat touch, because it was like, you're right. Like modern day, it wouldn't be. Oh, we've had people tailing them for a while. She fucking said where she was on Twitter, so we're gonna go there now. It's the putting the tracker on her that was fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it needs to be in the mucous membrane so that it doesn't like leave the body. She can't swallow it in a glass, because if she swallows it in a glass, she could piss it out or poop it out. So it needs to be in the mucous membrane. So when they first set that up, I was like, all right, so he's going to snot. It's going to be like a tonguing thing. It's going to be a joke about tonguing. He's going to have to get it in a mouth, like good and proper or something. And Eggsy sort of like, what, do you want me to walk up to her and stick my finger up her nose? And it's like, oh, that's kind of funny. Yeah. That would have been a funny sequence. That would have been a funny Finding a way to discreetly stick his finger up her nose. Yeah. But here's the thing. Jane Goldman and Matthew Vaughn have sat down and conceived a sequence. In their sequence, they have decided that it's a tracker inserted through the mucous membrane. Could have been attached to an item of clothing. Could have been, I don't know, like they toy with nanobots in this movie. They make suggestions about nanobots at one point. Yeah. So it could be a nanobot that stays on her or goes into her somehow and stays there. It could be anything as simple as freaking like he gets her to drink something, and whatever that thing is, it will stay in her stomach a bit longer no matter what. Yeah. There are ways that they wrote this scenario.
But I would imagine that they wrote the scenario with the punchline in mind.
Yes.
That he would have to finger bang her.
Yes. Eggsy has to insert the tracker through her vagina.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of gross, but you're playing on the Roger Moore spy trope. Maybe they're going to have sex, and he's going to wear a condom, for example, that inserts the tracker into her. That's still sleazy, but it's still fitting within the James Bond aesthetic.
No.
But then, of course, they add the thing of him calling his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So you can't get away with the charming, suave, like, oh, he slept with her, because it literally put a tracker on her. No, you're already playing with a different twist on it with the girlfriend and getting permission.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, you have decided this is what you're doing. And you've decided that he's going to wear a finger condom and stick a nano tracker in her. Okay. There are ways to do this, but it's still sleazy. You either own up to your sleaze and try and play on it, making the audience uncomfortable, or you find a different way to do it. But you've chosen to go for it. What you don't do is over-eggsy your pudding.
Oh, and boy, did they over-eggsy their pudding.
With the camera following the finger all the way down there, in a way where you're just like, everyone's going to come out going, that was so shocking. It was so cool. Here's the thing, guys. The Miller, Goldman, Vaughn triptych, they've been trying to recapture that, okay, you cunts, let's do this from Kick-Ass, ever since Kick-Ass. The moment where everyone goes, oh, that bit where that happened! Can you believe it? Difference with that is, that was shocking and, like, in an entertaining way in Kick-Ass. Because it was hilarious and surprising to hear a 10-year-old girl say that line.
Yeah.
This is a close-up of someone finger-banging somebody to put a tracker in them, and then the camera following the microchip going into their vagina.
Yeah. It's just unnecessary. Like,
Mhm.
and like, it's not offensive, it's just not funny.
Yeah, it's offensive because they think it's funny.
Yeah.
It's offensive to me personally because they think it's funny.
But
I think that's the worst crime. I think that's the worst moment in the movie in terms of its crimes it's committed, because it does that thinking, you're gonna love this. Do you know what I mean?
this movie's 2.5 hours long, nearly.
Yes, it is.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Which can fly by. It is nearly 2.5 hours long, and that
Yeah.
flies by.
But this...
Spider-Man: Homecoming is 2.5 hours long. That
Yeah, but
flies
this
by.
feels too long.
Mm.
It feels too long.
Yeah.
The action sequences are too long.
I'll tell you, I don't think it's the action sequences the problem. I think it's the padding between. How many times did we have them stood in the corridor at Statesman, stood in Harry's room, stood in the corridor, stood in the lab? Why did we have to have a scene with Merlin and Halle Berry's character where we learn that Halle Berry's character wants field action? Oh, we had it because there's a payoff at the end where she says, like, I'd like to be a statesman, and they go, okay! It's like, right, cool. This wasn't an arc. We don't feel triumphant because we don't really know her character or give a fuck about her.
No.
You've cast Halle Berry to make us give a fuck, but we need more than that.
Channing Tatum's not in it enough.
Yeah, well, yeah. There you go. Like, Channing Tatum is... which is disappointing, because when you first meet him, you go, there could be some fun, like, rivalry interplay here with this character in Eggsy. But then he's gone.
And instead...
So the rivalry disappears.
The interplay comes from between Whiskey and Eggsy. Whiskey's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
Up until he isn't.
Because it turns out Whiskey isn't a double agent. I mean, that was nice when Harry just shoots him point blank in the face.
Yeah.
And Eggsy's like, why the hell have you done that? And he's like, he's a double agent. It's like, you have no proof that you've killed a statesman. What is wrong with you? But I like that, because I was like, you can play around with, is Harry doing this in his delirium?
Yeah.
Or has he spotted something? Because he's right. Like, Whiskey did knock the antidote out of Eggsy's hand and break it in a way where that could have been very easily avoided.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they reveal that, yes, he is a double agent, but he's not a double agent working for the bad guys. He's working for himself. Because he wants to get rid of druggies. And then he reveals, and also, people will buy more alcohol if no one's buying drugs. And I have shares in the Statesman Whiskey Company. It's like, sorry, what? What the fuck? It would have been less naff had he just turned out to be a double agent.
Yeah.
That would have been more like, okay, now he's a bad guy.
Up until that point, I quite like Whiskey, but he's too. There's not enough friction between him and Eggsy for it to make compelling drama. It's just like,
no, they get on well.
Okay,
they get on really well.
And we do stuff together, and it's fine. And then,
which would make sense if he was a main character for a majority of the movie.
Yeah.
And then you get the twist of, oh shit, he was working thingy. But you chose to do the kill him off early thing and play the Harry card of Willy Wonka. What this movie does is it tries to do, oh, that'd be cool if we do this. But then it goes, oh, but before then we'll do this. Which completely offsets the latter thing. I think... We said this before with, like, the, what do you call it? There's another thing where, like, by setting that up. Like, I don't know. There's plenty of that. It's like, we want Eggsy to have a personal stake. So the person, like, the plot is, like, that Julianne Moore has poisoned the drugs so that it's going to kill people a certain way within a certain time period.
She's the world's biggest drug lord, but she wants to go legit and be recognised for it.
Yeah.
She's already making billions
which is a very sort of stupid supervillainy plot. So I didn't hate that, but I hated the fact that it almost was played off not as her going, I want to be respected for the work I've done. It played off more as, I want to be famous.
It is one of those things where the motivations and the plot in this movie are one of those things that just fall, like Star Trek Into Darkness. As soon as you start thinking about it,
falls apart.
It falls apart completely to the point where you can't really put it back together again and have fun with it because it's just gone. So it works as a one-off movie. You watch it once, have a decent time with it, and then think about it and go, actually, I don't want to watch that again ever.
I'd watch it
again. But the best and the
I'm
worst
gonna wait for it. I'm gonna wait for it to be in like the 2 for £10 sort of release thing and pick it up again. I'd happily watch it again, but I'm not in a rush to watch it.
It's one of those movies where the best and the worst things in it come from that attitude of let's just throw everything at this movie and have it be bonkers and put every idea in it that we've got.
Let's clarify. If you're listening to this, it's because you don't care about spoilers or because you've already seen it and you're curious about our opinion. So for the sake of balance, good Sir Matthew.
Yeah.
Let's list the stuff we like in Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Elton John. which not everybody did, but
You know,
I really like the
I
Elton John
partly
stuff.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I wish there was less Elton John, because there were like 3 key moments where he was fucking great, that really effective. When he first appears is a neat little touch.
Yeah.
When you establish that the dogs won't attack him is a neat touch.
Yeah.
And then Rocket Man burning on the streets. Like, were it just those 3 moments, I think I would love it. As it stands, I'm like, it was fun.
The fight scene was a bit much.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it for the sheer audacity of it.
Oh yeah, of Elton John high kicking someone in the face, karate style. And I do like, Wednesday! Isn't it Saturday? What day is it? Wednesday. And then he beats the shit out of them. I think it was a bit much, but I didn't hate it because he plays it with such conviction.
And they land the punchline.
The Rocket Man punchline is fucking phenomenal.
It's the best gag in the whole film.
I would say it's joint best gag.
What's the best gag?
For some reason, making a hand that looks like I'm holding a joint. I'd say it's the joint best gag.
What's the best gag?
Well, one of them is that, but the other one is the the airlift sequence where the airlift at the ski slopes has been broken. It's sliding down the hill, and the way that they managed to stop it from crashing is Eggsy smashes open the glass.
Oh yeah.
Whiskey's got a parachute on, so he lets the parachute off and it slows down. As it's doing this, there is like obviously a big ski lodge at the bottom, specifically with a retirement community.
Yeah.
And the 2 old guys, it keeps cutting between Eggsy and Whiskey screaming, and these 2 old guys, who seem to be the only 2 who've really noticed this thing's going to kill them, also screaming. Like, obviously unable to move because they're sat there hooked up to oxygen tanks, and they're on their blankets, and one of them's in a wheelchair. Like, they're going nowhere. The timing of the delivery of the punchline's perfect, where the thing stops, and it doesn't even give you a moment to breathe before the other guy goes, "That's the best shit I've had in 3 months."
3 weeks.
3 weeks. It's
you
like...
fucked it, Chris, you fucked the delivery!
But I was never going to be as funny as he is. That actor's delivery is fucking phenomenal in that moment.
Yeah, it's a bit...
That made me piss. I was laughing for about a minute solid after that moment.
It's a bit of a juvenile gag, but the timing sells.
Yeah, it's completely the time. And it's the fact that, like, in these big action movies where someone, like, just stops the thing from crashing or whatever, like, everyone on me goes like, "Ah!" And then the action carries on. This took a moment to just be like, no, this old person shit himself.
Yeah.
But he's delighted about it.
Wonderful.
He's delighted that he shit himself. I loved that.
Yeah. But that being said, the action sequence leading up to that on the cable car goes on
a bit too long. Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, I liked the actor that clearly was having fun getting his teeth around playing the villain.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the first movie, Charlie's gone, fuck it, I was going to be a hero. No, I'm not. Screw it. I hate the good guys. I wish the good guys are dead.
I do like that Eggsy beats him with one hand tied behind his back.
Yeah, like makes it a fair fight. I love Charlie's death.
Yeah.
Because that is one thing I really do love about these movies. The heroes there's not a moral conundrum. They're like, oh, that bad guy has to die. Okay, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it as quick and discreet as I can. Oh, I can't do that. We're going to have a fist fight. Cool, let's do it. I love how Eggsy just, like, basically says to Charlie, this is for, like, freaking...
everyone, yeah.
He names his dog and, like, Roxy and everyone
Brandon.
back home and everybody. And just snaps Charlie's neck. Loved that. Like, I love those blunt moments. I quite like Julianne Moore's introduction.
Yeah.
They just never really go anywhere with it.
No.
Her introduction essentially is like her recruiting these 2 henchmen. One henchman's brought another one to her, and they're in the 50s diner in the middle of the jungle. I don't know if I... Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. I spent the whole thing going, I know who that is. Who is it? I don't know if I hate her lair design and everything. I think I like it.
I like it.
I just I almost feel like they're trying too hard, but I still like the visuals. Well, yeah, I think it's not the 50s. It's 80s nostalgia for the 50s.
It's not inconsistent from that point of view. Yeah, it is the 80s nostalgia for 50s.
Hence Elton John. He's like the cherry on top.
But it's things like the robots. I don't trust...
There needed to be more of the robotic stuff to sort of sell you on that.
I don't trust people. I only trust robots. Here at my hideout.
Here's my robot dog. And my henchman's got
my 2 robot dogs.
And a robot salon.
And a robot salon assistant. And a load of henchmen.
Yeah.
Human henchmen.
What it needed, I think we said this after the film, it needed a tinkerer.
Yeah,
it needed, like, here's her tech guy.
Yeah.
So it's more like, oh, cool, they're blending styles. Okay, fair enough. Just, like, one more supervillain who that was their specialty.
Yeah.
Not like a main villain, but, like, he's her...
A B-villain.
Yeah. He like, Beastman. to her Skeletor. Do you know what I mean? Let's Beastman. Let's Beastman. More like Evelyn. She's Skeletor.
Okay.
She needed an Evelyn.
Okay.
Charlie wasn't Evelyn level.
No.
Charlie was Beastman level.
He was more, yeah.
Charlie was Trapjaw, or whatever he's called.
It was the one whose eyes go out and stalk.
Yeah, eye stalk face.
Eye stalk face.
Merman, probably.
He's not called Merman. He's got eyes on stalk. He's eyes on stalk, man.
Many faces? You can have Centre Patrol because you have many faces. Like, it needed that. But I love her introductory scene where it's like, yeah, one henchman brings another potential one to her, and she basically is like, cool, like, the only thing I ask, aside from, you know, like, you having the skills, is loyalty. That is the only thing I ask. It's all about discretion doing this. I need your loyalty. I need to know you're never going to, like, you know, betray me. So to test his loyalty, she points out that his partner, the guy who brought him, has fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you what he's done, because that shouldn't matter to you. And I know you're his friend, but you're my employee. Kill him.
Put him in the meat grinder.
Yeah, that's specifically that. So that already was like, oh, cool introduction for the villain, nice. And the guy goes for it. Like, you see hesitation on his face for like a moment, and then he's obviously thinking, no, like, this is the best job I'm ever going to have. And he kills his mate, beats him, chucks him in the meat grinder, and he gets minced, which is nice and sinister, especially because it's one of those big industrial ones. Oh, yeah. So it's clean. There's no gore. There's just the mince comes out of the bottom.
They keep it very clean.
And then off he goes to get, like, the mini makeover that all of the henchmen get. They get the golden circle tattoo.
Get the teeth filed flat.
Get their
fingerprints removed.
Yeah. Just because, like, ID stuff, but then give them something that clearly makes them a part of an organisation. Yeah, but I guess it's more a case of, like, they will operate in secret, and, like, Tooth gets knocked out or the corpse gets found. You're going to see a mysterious golden ring, and that's it.
Don't think about it. It falls apart.
But then he goes back, and she's cooked the meat into a burger.
Yeah.
And she sits there and makes him eat it. That was a scene that I didn't mind going on for as long as it did, because it needed to be as uncomfortable as it was.
Yeah.
And it set up...
With you on that one.
Julianne Moore ain't fucking around.
No.
This bad guy, Poppy, is a bad guy.
I mean, Julianne Moore is clearly fucking around.
Yeah.
But this character isn't fucking around.
Like Poppy ain't fucking around. She's a bad guy. In this scene, you're not going to see this character again.
No.
Her plan is more sadistic than she is going forward.
It's just she hasn't got the...
There is
the motivation's not there.
But we're focusing on positives. What else? Suits are fucking gorgeous. Costume design, like the first movie, is fucking great in this film.
It always is.
Despite the overuse of the church choreography style setups for shots, I think a lot of the moments in the fight scenes, not so much all of them, but moments in them, are really fucking cool.
There are great moments in the fight scenes, but the fight scenes as a whole are overdone.
The shootout as they arrive there is really cool. Like especially when they take out the scissor thing above the salon, it just drops and impales two henchmen.
It goes on a bit too
positives. We're focusing on the positives for this little section.
Positives.
Positives.
Okay, fine.
Positive. Roxy is in the movie. We'll get back to that in the negatives
for about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Colin Firth sells the tragedy of Harry not quite being back very well,
and yet.
Positives in this section. We're going to get to the negatives.
I don't have anything really positive to say about the.
Mark Strong's fucking great and has a wonderful drunk scene.
He does have a wonderful drunk scene.
The casting of Jeff Bridges and Channing Tatum in particular is inspired, and on the surface is a great thing. But remember the word I kept repeating before, guys. You'll have your moment, don't worry. I think the robot dogs are a very cool visual effect, and they look very cool and genuinely seem frightening when someone's having to face off against them.
Yes!
I think the robot arm and its fucking cool nickname Armageddon is quite cool. I do like the robot arm.
Yes, I like the robot arm.
It gets some weird porn shots where they're like, hey, look at them gears. You like the gears, don't you? It's like, no, show me it doing something.
No, I like the robot arm quite a bit.
I do like that. I like the choreography of the fight between Eggsy and Charlie, using the robot arm, like knowing that they've got that and they should really play with it. Oh fuck! There's a couple of other positives. What are they? I do like how the film. I do like how the film sort of makes a case of, hey, guess what? Just because you do drugs doesn't mean you're a bad person. You may be trying to escape a bad situation.
And
But yet they do the polar opposite of that at the same time, so it mixes. That's what I'm saying. They do a thing where they go, "We're going to do this. Oh, but on the way we'll do this," and the thing on the way undermines the thing they were heading toward.
it is mixed messaging on the morality.
Yeah, South Park to
For
fuck.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like Pedro Pascal's fight sequences. I always think that Whiskey looked fucking cool doing what he did. It makes you want to watch a Statesman movie set, separate from this. Like, I'd watch that. If only because... Negative time! If only because it means we actually get Jeff Bridges doing something. And Channing Tatum doing something.
Doing something.
And Halle...
anything!
And Halle Berry actually being established as a character to the point where we would give a shit about her character's goals. Let's talk Jeff Bridges and Julianne Moore for a second. Do you know what I noticed? Julianne Moore and Jeff Bridges, I bet they shot for one day.
Yeah!
They shot for one day.
Maybe a week for
because
Julianne
they are
Moore.
both in the same location and in about 3 scenes each. Julianne Moore maybe had an extra day on green screen to film the ransom video.
Yeah.
But probably not, because they also had Elton John, and I imagine they probably had to use them both in a day. Oh my god. Okay. Let's be calm, because I don't think the audacity is going to take it.
The Harry Hart plot.
Is Harry's surname?
Yeah.
Lovely. That's quite a nice name.
It's not good.
No.
It's not good.
No. There is an emotional depth that you can play with this, and I think, like I said, the 3 who are involved in it, Merlin and Eggsy and Harry, the 3 of the actors approach it and play it very well.
Yeah.
But it's pointless, because it undercuts the first movie.
Yep.
It's Men in Black 2'd the second movie.
It is Men in Black 2, yeah.
Yeah. And worst of all, as far as I'm fucking concerned, the reason he's alive kills death in the Kingsman universe.
Well, it kills death by headshot.
Yeah, but that's the most, deathy death you can have in terms of spy movies.
But they do
Headshot, double tap, someone
do
is
it-
dead. And now you can survive that.
And they do it to Whiskey.
Because the good guys invented technology to do it.
And they do it to Whiskey,
Oh my
and he's
God.
back up on his feet in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Harry, few months.
Well, it's because they couldn't work out how to reboot Harry's memory.
/ they didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But also, the human brain
It's
isn't
a
a computer.
gel!
You can't just reboot it.
Exactly!
Merlin's death scene.
Mark
I
Strong
like Merlin's death
tries.
scene.
Mark Strong tries his damnedest to make that work.
But again, it goes on too
Long.
fucking long. You don't need to sing that song like
And it's
3
really
times.
And it's really stupid.
It's
why
really
it happens.
Stupid. It's really stupid.
Like if they'd have cleared the first wave of henchmen or something, and we'd had a cool action sequence with them getting up there,
Yeah.
and then it ends with one of them standing on the thing. It's like, oh fuck! Then it would be sort of like in the melee, one of them has stood on the landmine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But instead, it's no. They sneak up, and Eggsy stands on a landmine. So Merlin has to die because he's going to sacrifice himself by standing on the mine.
And also
It would make sense if they took out the first wave of guards. He got to be a Kingsman, which was the whole point of it. Again, oh my god, wouldn't it be great if Merlin's always wanted to be in the field properly? Let's do that. Oh, but on the way, let's have him die here. Do you see what I mean? It's like they go, stretch goal, intermediate thing ruins the point of the stretch goal.
But he doesn't want to be a Kingsman.
But he wants to get his hands dirty in this particular moment. They do set that up, he picks a big fucking knife.
He doesn't want to be a Kingsman. Ginger Ale wants to be a statesman.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you
Oh
want
my
to run on the
God.
hill? And he's like, nah.
So what they should have done is built Halle Berry's character up more by giving her more to do.
Yeah.
Maybe just dropped Channing Tatum's character altogether to give Halle Berry more time to flourish.
Yeah.
And then she should have been the one who made the sacrifice play. But not in a stupid way. She still should have had some fighting.
But then you're killing off all your female characters, which is not good.
But
Yeah. Because you kill off Roxy at the start.
yeah, I fucking hated that.
Fucking hate it.
Especially because they
Hated.
show an extra scene where
Hated
she's helping Eggsy with an earpiece during the meeting of the princess's parents.
And they're best mates.
And it really reinforces something which the first film did that I loved, which was it didn't end with Eggsy and Roxy being a thing.
No.
They first meet, and there's a couple scenes at them when they're training where you sort of get the suggestion that are these two going to end up being an item? And at that point, it didn't bother me. So I was like, I mean, they're both cute and their chemistry's nice. But then they don't go along with that, and then by the end they're best mates who've fucking taken on the world-ending plot of Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Yeah.
And it's great, and I love that. I love that it ended with so the Kingsmen, the two main Kingsmen operating now for this base are these two. Great, because they're going to be fucking brilliant working alongside each other. And we see that in the personal stake with her being in the earpiece in this movie, and you're like, yay, the best mates, and they work really well together. This is amazing. Yep. And then she gets blown up.
It's bullshit.
And Michael Gambon! I don't mind the casting of Michael Gambon in a role that you are then killing off, because it is sort of that almost joke of, oh my god, Michael Gambon's in charge now? Cool, can't wait to see what... Oh, we've killed him off.
Yeah, one day shoot again.
Which you get
for Michael Gambon.
So again, though, that's the stretch goal. The stretch goal is introduce him, but know you're going to kill him off and surprise the audience by killing him off so soon. There's your stretch goal. But then they have the interim, where they decide to give him the same final moment joke as Michael Caine from the first one.
It's almost as
the missile arrives and the posh Michael Gambon goes, "Oh fuck!"
This movie, repeats so many of the same beats.
Yeah,
it's got a bar fight with the man as maketh man. Again,
which again, its purpose is to show that Harry's not quite ready. So we need to do something where we show that Harry isn't ready for the field. Stretch goal.
But that isn't really its purpose,
how about if we do it by him repeating the bar fight from the last... This movie's death by 0.5s.
Yeah.
It's death by 0.5s. They come up with an idea or a story beat they need to hit, and then they introduce something on the way to that ruins it.
And just structurally, the movie's just messy and boring.
It's a movie full of 0.5s that are no whole numbers. It's a movie full of 0.5s and no whole numbers. It's what is this?
The more I think about it, the less I like it.
Yeah.
And don't surround me and go, oh well, don't overthink it. It's just a movie.
No.
No.
There are movies that go, leave your brain at the door. We're here for a dumb old time. Kingsman certainly celebrates its goofiness, but that first movie proved that no, it is an intelligent story. It is told well, and even though this world is goofy, there is logic to this world.
But I think the fact that it's intelligent means you can't forgive it for what it does.
What it does, especially in Entry 2. I almost feel like the two movies, so they've given us a fucking gorgeous starter. We've had for starter, we've had a straight up Mexican chili. We've had some rice. We've had some freaking sour cream, dolloped on top. We've got nachos around the sides, melted cheese on the rice. We've been given, but this thing's been freaking made in Mexico and airlifted over to you. It's as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
Then for dessert, we've had a McFlurry. It's cool in your tongue after all the chili, so you're grateful for it.
Yeah.
And it's it's not terrible, but a bit of a fucking step down after the last thing, isn't it? That's sort of how it feels to me.
Somewhat, yeah.
And the way the movie ends, it sort of suggests that the story will go on with at least Channing Tatum and Harry.
Yeah.
I'm not against this. If, and these are my terms, Kingsman 3, if you ever get greenlit.
It's happening.
Is it definitely happening? Yeah. Oh yeah, because it knocked it off the box office, didn't it? So, these are my terms, Kingsman 3. You leave Taron Egerton out of it. Eggsy Story's closed. He's a prince now. It would be stupid and far-fetched to fuck if you were but he's also a secret agent. No. Leave Eggsy be. It's disappointing that that's the end of Eggsy's story for me, because he's a fucking good Kingsman.
Yeah.
But end Eggsy's story here. Don't be an immediate reaction. Introduce a new protagonist, maybe someone who's just graduated from the program, or something like that. You make Channing Tatum their Harry. Not the same relationship, but he's the one who's ushering them into it. You get a different dynamic from Colin Firth and Taron Egerton because of that, because your Harry, though very fucking skilled, is still a bit of an arsehole himself, not quite responsible.
Yeah.
And you also get the extra charm of the British spy flick with a big bungling American as part of the team.
Yeah.
You make Harry Arthur. Harry's Arthur now.
Yeah.
You don't overuse your Colin Firth. I think Colin Firth should still be in the field, but not as much
Your Colin
as he has been.
Firth should be used sparingly to avoid spoiling the meat.
Your Colin Firth, and then you grill him up after mincing him.
Yeah.
Your Colin Firth should be in an Arthur role that gets to partake in scenes like the McDonald's scene from the first Kingsman.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favourite fucking scenes in that movie. And after this, may I recommend a Chateau Dumont and a Twinkie? Oh, very good. You don't waste a villain in your third movie the way you did with Julianne Moore. You cast a great actress and you sort of give her something that starts off really cool and then is pretty much nothing after that point. You do what you did with Sam Jackson. You cast somebody to play something against their type with an actor like Sam Jackson who's willing to play with it.
What?
Well, Valentine in the first one is not the role you would normally give Sam Jackson.
No, absolutely not. No.
It's a role that when you hear that he's playing it, you go, oh, yeah, I mean, I can see that. But then he one-upped you by going, and this is how I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it like this. Physicality is going to be like this. The speech impediment, like, I'm going to play with it. So you going, oh shit, Sam Jackson was great at this. So you need to cast an actor against type again for your villain.
We had another henchman in this one, didn't we?
Yeah. Keep the supervillain aspect of them all, like, fair enough. But next one can't be about world domination or killing people around the world. It has to be about something else.
It's going to be.
Have a worldwide business, maybe. But don't make it about the world's around. Don't give us a fucking CGI stadium full of green screen cabin in the woods cages full of people. I will admit though, the lack of oxygen death was gross.
Yeah.
But the fact they showed you so many people who didn't deserve it and made a big point of that, it made it really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't feel like the world's under danger. I feel like you're torturing innocent people because you think it's cool, a cool death.
Especially that there was so many authority figures were like, yeah, alright. I mean, I guess it's kind of a comment on right-wing Trump.
Do you know what? I would like my fiction to stop directly referencing the real world now. Watch the first episode of American Horror Story Cult today. Do you know what it opens with? Newsreels of the election.
See, I think...
Several of the characters talk about Trump throughout the show.
I think it's very important that fictional media...
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Do you know how you do it?
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
You touch on real world things through your stories.
Through allegory.
You don't just go, hey, you know that thing? We're doing it. Now, admittedly, yes, the president wasn't Trump. And he wasn't fighting the war on drugs the way Trump sort of has. Trump has barely been thinking about it. But it was that extreme right thing of like, good, get rid of these junkies. We'll just let them all die. It's like, what?
And everyone will love me for it.
Yeah. Like, so there's that.
Yeah.
But even so, it's like, no. Fiction's escapism. You can teach us things, you can comment on things. But if I want fact, I'll watch the news. I'll stick with my documentaries. Don't make me think about Trump in a Kingsman movie. Or better yet, remake the first one by reinserting all the president scenes with him so that his head explodes.
Decent.
10 out of 10.
Now, Christopher, let's stop talking about something that we didn't particularly like.
Also, there wasn't a Take That song.
And let's talk instead
about
something that we did really like.
Take That songs?
It only takes a minute, girl.
Ah, you're an old school Take That-er, I see.
In love.
I like that we're all in our 30s wearing suits and slightly dancing while we sing phase.
Relight my fire. Your love is my only desire. Relight my fire.
We got the melody.
'Cause I need your love.
And all our younger listeners going, who's that? Let's take that.
Who? Rick and Morty.
Yes, good sir. This week we got Morty's Mind Blowers. Minor spoilers from here on in, guys, but not too much.
Don't explain the whole episode.
No. But as Rick said from the beginning, this is your interdimensional cable this year.
Yeah.
Which, when he said that, I just looked down the barrel of the camera. I was like, okay, fair enough.
It's a clip show made up of clips that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
But it's not a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
Which he made very clear. It's not a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror
very
episode.
fourth wall breaking, very
Everything
meta.
Rick says in the first 5 minutes is basically him explaining to the audience, either directly or through Morty, what this episode is, and why it's structured this way, and how it's different from other shows.
So the idea is basically that Morty has asked Rick to remove memories of things that he doesn't want to remember.
Well, whether he's asked him straight up or asked him more in panic, I don't want to remember this, and Rick's just gone, all right, fine.
So only Morty discovers that Rick's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, it's less a case of I've helped remove a trauma for you.
Yeah.
It's more a case of, I've removed trauma, I've removed self-inflicted trauma, I've removed minor quibbles, embarrassments. Yeah. And then as the episode goes on, you realise he's also removed things that he doesn't want Morty to remember, where he's fucked up, or he's been the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's a story about being mind raped.
Yeah.
And Morty's brain is not his to own anymore. So it's a horrible story about being violated mentally, which is played a lot of the time because it's a comedy show for comedy.
Oh yeah.
But some of the things you're like,
God! Pitch dark comedy.
Yeah, this is a black comedy.
I don't think
episode.
we should say too much about the individual moments themselves, or even the much of the plot of the episode, because it's very short and very simple. But
I think there's one reassurance. About 2/3 into the episode, a very familiar trope will show up in terms of where the story's going.
Yeah,
stick with it.
Yeah,
they're not writing this in autopilot.
No.
It's worth it, and the payoff, as always with Rick and Morty, is even fucking darker than the premise.
It's very, very dark.
Highlights, without giving too much away. I do love the one where the memory is them interrogating an alien for information to save the world, and Rick basically says, grab the glands on his face.
Yeah, grab the things.
Because Morty's getting really pissed off, and it's basically Morty thinks he's torturing the creature, and Rick's like, okay, he says he'll give us half the code now and half when you finish. And Morty's like, wait, what? Oh, God! That was really freaking cool. There is a cameo appearance in a very quick flash memory of Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Yay!
Which I won't say what the memory is, but you'll go, wait, what? That was really cool.
Yeah.
God, what else? There's a couple of cameos hidden in the memories.
Yeah.
There's a brilliant one where Morty's possessed by this being, and Rick, Beth, and Summer appeal to Morty to you're in there, be strong, get rid of it, you can do this. And he starts puking up this giant slug creature. And then they stop, encouraging him because they're commenting on how gross and how long it's taking. And it starts to go back. That was horrible.
That was fucking
But really
great.
funny, because of course Rick wouldn't appeal to Morty's better nature by being sincere. He'd fake sincerity.
Oh, yeah.
It makes sense. So, that was cool.
And there's also a great line about them not doing this, not doing this again because they bicker so much.
Yes.
Which is a lovely nod to the fact that this season took way longer than it should have because Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon just couldn't get it out the door.
Yeah.
Because they kept bickering.
And for Jerry fans who've been missing him, there is a lovely post-credits
lovely Jerry
with a bit of Jerry.
So fucking good.
Probably their longest post-credit sequence ever. It's a good minute and a half.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah, Rick and Morty keep on going. On 2 more episodes, I think, after this.
2 more episodes!
And then another 8-year wait.
Yeah.
I would wait. I would
this
happily
might be the last
wait.
season, I don't think they'll do another one.
I don't know. I feel they've got another in them.
I think this one was so hard to force out.
Oh, I think they've got another in them, but I don't want them to hurry. I don't want them to rush.
I think it's given them so many creative hemorrhoids that if they try and force another
we
one
got
out,
creative hemorrhoids.
they might give themselves an anal fissure.
It only takes a
And
minute,
it'll just hurt every time they move.
I want one more season, but I want them to take their time. I want them to make it when they make it.
Do it. Bring it out when it's
as much as Cartoon Network are probably no, bring it out now because we've now after witnessing the success of it while it's with the people who are waiting for it, we've been making merchandise like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network, the merch will sell. This isn't an 80s cartoon. The merch will sell without the show being on. Because your main market is adults, not kids.
Yeah.
Adults will always buy Rick and Morty merch, regardless of if the show is reminding them that it exists. So, yeah. Speaking of reminding us that it exists, you guys remind us that we're real and not actually figments of the imagination by getting in touch with us. We've got some emails in the box. Do you want to hit me up? That either means that we've got an inbox full of Viagra advertisements, or you're going to have to put on a voice. Oh.
Just losing my vocal cords.
In your fingers? What?
Hi, Big Dan Chris and Matt. Spelt like the paint. Last week, Chris said you might get around to finishing Black Mirror Season 3 this week. Have you? Matt, you said you wouldn't, but have you? No and no.
No, my existence betwixt recordings got a lot busier than I thought it would, so no.
I'm actually purposefully not going to watch it.
I did watch all of Season 3 of Toast of London, though. But that was only it only takes 2 hours to complete, so that was quite easy.
Yeah, I've watched all but one episode of Toast now.
All but one episode. There's been at least 3 instances of another breakfast table where he's just ended a sentence extending the sound. For no reason other than he knows people find it amusing when he does that.
Aren't I lucky? If so, what did you think? What was your favourite? I recently rewatched episode 4, San Junipero, after hating it and not watching it since when it came out, and now I can say it is one of my favourites. It's one of those episodes that's better on second viewing when you know what's going on from the offset. Apologies if neither of you have in fact watched it and I've just bored you with opinions on episodes you haven't watched. That's all this week. Hope you have a nice next one, Tom Monty.
Do we all float down here, Tom Monty?
Oh yes. They all float. They all float. No, we haven't watched Black Mirror Season 3.
But let's answer his question. My favourite is the one where all the crabs show up. And there's just crabs everywhere. Everyone wakes up one morning, there's just crabs. And eventually, one of the crabs learns to speak by using chalk.
My favourite was the one where Twitter is his father.
Why don't you tell me you love me? Because I only have 140
This one comes in from Ryan. Give me a voice for Ryan.
Ooh, right, we're in the Tat Cave. Let's look around and see what we find. Arnold Schwarzenegger, specifically in Predator. Quiet, a little more understated, but confrontational towards the end.
Hey guys. Been a while since my last email, mainly because I just couldn't really think of a question to ask, and all I could think of was a really good show to recommend to you guys. Side note, the anime My Hero Academia is awesome, and I'd love to see a segment on it if you get to watching it.
Was that Hero Academia?
My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia. I've heard of this. I may have to give that a look.
I did eventually think of a few questions that I'd like to ask you. 1. Are you guys looking forward to the new series of Red Dwarf?
Yes. I was a bit overwhelmed. I was a bit underwhelmed by last year's run.
It just sort of ended, didn't it?
Oh, the scripts were edited. And the script and the visuals were edited so terribly.
Ended really abruptly.
Every scenes ended like they feel like they hadn't ended yet. It was odd. But that being said, I watch it on catch up, so I'm not like appointment viewing it necessarily.
Yeah.
So 6 weeks, getting some brand new Red Dwarf over 6 weeks to watch while I'm like cooking dinner and stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
I
can't knock that.
anything for ages, so yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it should appointment view.
What?
All Over the Place Asia Part 2 going out in January on the CBBC channel.
2! With all the new Doctor Who Big Finish series coming out, are there any you're particularly excited for? Personally interested in the 10th Doctor and the Rose Adventures?
No.
I don't think I've ever been excited for a Big Finish audio.
No. But I tell you what you should get excited for. No, ill will toward them and that, but like, not really. I even if I was subscribed, that is way too many things to keep up with for me to sort of look forward to them.
It's just a lot.
Yeah. Although, I am looking forward to the 9th Doctor Adventures, which is finally getting its premiere online this autumn. So keep an eye out for that.
Get to the chopper!
That's not a, it's not a big finish.
3!
It's, you know, it's the one that we worked on.
If you could bring back
directing
one
it and,
missing Doctor Who story,
alright,
which would it be? And it'd probably pick Power of the Daleks, or the Daleks' Master Plan.
Oh, like sort of just find it miraculously one day.
Power of the Daleks. Hands down.
Funny enough, Dalek Master Plan.
Hands down, Power of the Daleks.
Dalek Master Plan.
Or Evil of the Daleks.
Is it Dalek Master Plan that had the pre-episode as well? That's like without the main characters, but it's got Peter Butterworth in it.
Yeah.
The Meddling Monk comes back for one episode. Yeah, that. Absolutely that.
Yeah.
Dalek Master Plan for me.
4.
Oh, that sounded really good!
What are some of your favourite animated movies / television shows? Loving the podcast, and I look forward to listening to the next episode. See you next email, which knowing me will be in 2018.
Thanks, Ryan.
Favourite animated
have you got all
movies?
day?
Batman animated series, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Transformers the movie, Transformers the animated series, even though it's terrible.
Batman Beyond Return of the Joker.
Fucking awful, but I love it.
Batman Beyond Return
Batman
of the
Beyond
Joker.
Return of the Joker's great.
The Wonder Woman DC animated original movie is damn fine.
Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
Basically, the DCAU.
Yeah.
The
all
DCAU, including
stuff.
Static Shock. Because it is technically part of it. There was the crossover episode with Batman.
Oh!
Meets. Animaniacs, but good luck finding it. If you do, let us know where, because I really want to revisit it.
Rick and Morty. Obs,
Totes, Blates. What else? Robot Chicken's fun if you're looking for something to digest while you're, like, cooking.
Is that technically animated, though?
Yeah, it's stop motion.
Stop motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we're talking animated films.
Bob's Burgers. It's
yeah,
really
what I've seen
good.
of that I really like.
It's really good.
Yeah. What else? If we're talking animated films, pretty much the entire Disney Renaissance minus Pocahontas.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And even then, after that, Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Most Disney classics and Walt Disney Pictures Presents, I dig on in terms of animated movies.
Pixar as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the exception of the Cars trilogy. I wasn't keen on Brave either.
I like Brave, but it almost feels like it should be a 15-minute short film rather than an hour and 20-minute piece.
Yes!
However, it is fascinating when you go into it with the mindset of the Pixar theory that the old crone is actually a time-travelling Boo from Monsters, Inc.
God, I hate fan theories.
Oh, no, that one's kind of cool, because the Easter egg in that movie is Mike and Sully are scribbled on one of the
There's
logs.
no such thing as a cool fan theory.
And when you open the door, she goes into a workshop, and then when they opened it again after they left it, it just was opening onto the wood of the tree, because of course it's a door from Monstropolis. Obviously. Come on, Matt. Get involved, Ed. Sniff TM.
Right.
Left.
Right.
Left. Company!
Right.
Halt! What's next? The end of time or email?
We have 2.
2 ends of time.
2 emails. From Luke.
Dun! Dun dun dun!
I need a voice for Luke.
The year is 1582.
Fuck it.
You find yourself stranded in the wilderness, with no clothing, no implements or personal objet d'art to give you a clue as to where you were the night prior. You remember nothing, but surrounding you are several kegs of gunpowder, and atop one is a musket with a single shot! Now, perhaps concealed within these gunpowder is the secret of why you are here, or perhaps you will simply blow yourself up. The voice that's in your head trying to tell you to calm down is the voice I would like you to read the emails with.
Hey, Big Dumb Cast. I had a great idea for a little segment on the show. The Ginger Luke's film reviews. Make up a theme tune, please. Basically, Fidgy says he film studies. I had to write about my favourite films, and I thought that if I put a film per podcast, it could be a little fun. So National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983. This classic John Hughes comedy. It stars Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold, not Griswold.
until the third instalment of this film series. My parents introduced this film to me earlier this year when it was airing on TV. The humour holds up and it's not anywhere near as dated as some of Hughes' other films. The Griswold family has become a recurring joke throughout all of our trips as a family. Lindsay Buckingham's Holiday Road wonderfully soundtracks the film. Your thoughts? I would say if you want to do movie reviews, just do your own podcast, my dude. Yeah, don't tie it to us. Just get your own thing out there. Especially the little short ones, you can sort of like whack them out at a pretty regular interval.
Yeah, 15-minute podcast. There's literally a film review per podcast, and then like asking what people think of it. Go for it. That'd be awesome.
Do it.
Let us know if you do it, because obviously we'll put the link out.
We'll give you a signal.
We'll tell people.
So weird what you said about the word defenestrate. I'm thinking of calling my next short film It. Interesting. I'll be interested to see that.
What, It or Defenestrate?
Defenestrate, a short film called Defenestrate by Luke. Please do a hashtag Buffy Slays 20 episode.
I think we should.
Okay.
I think before the end of the year we should do a Buffy episode, because it's the 20th
I
anniversary.
have to rewatch some Buffy, won't I?
Maybe don't rewatch all of it. That might be a bit of a gargantuan task.
I can't believe SJA is 10. These random sentences are completely unrelated. Even this one. Same here. Joke's old. Anyhow, I must ask, what are your views on The Naked Gun, as within a few weeks I'll be reviewing it with Guy Lambert as a special guest on a new podcast of mine. Is it Ginger Luke's film review? Do that.
Well, there it is. There you go. Like, he's already got the ball rolling. Let us know when that's out.
What are your favourite biscuits? Bye. Here's another unrelated sentence. Sandwich toaster.
Bourbon. In fact, now I've said that, we're popping out after this to grab some drinky poos. I'm going to buy a pack of bourbons as well.
Chocolate digestives. Have you tried the new caramel digestive flavours?
No.
There's a coffee caramel digestive
Oh.
and a banoffee caramel digestive.
Oh God, I know I'm an adult because the idea of a coffee caramel biscuit excites me.
Fucking lovely, mate. It's fucking lovely. Get it in your belly and just have a brew and have a whole pack of these fucking banoffee caramel biscuits, and what you do is you pour the brew onto them like gravy, and you take the whole packet cylinder-like and you put it in a Pringles can, you shake it up, and then you just pour it into your mouth. You deep throat that shit right the way down. What the fuck was that?
Taste rate on out.
Luke also sent another one. Just a bit of shameless self-promotion on Luke's part here.
Go for it, man.
For more weird rants, follow me on Twitter at llama_bottle0. That's at llama_bottle0.
Good night, sweetheart. Ding dong do it.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun. I love Naked Gun.
It's really fucking good.
But I'd recommend this, good sir, kind sir.
Yeah.
If you've not seen it yet, watch the precursor to Naked Gun.
Police Squad.
Yeah, Naked Gun. I think the first movie is called The Naked Gun Police
From the Files
Squad.
of
From the
Police
Files of Police Squad. That's because Naked Gun is the Police Squad the movie. You can very easily watch all of Police Squad before you do your podcast, Luke, because it's only 6 episodes long.
Yes.
It was one series. It was very short-lived, but people loved it enough that they went, "Oh yeah, we're going to do a movie." I like all 3 of them. The first one's obviously the best one, but I do enjoy all 3. Anything with Leslie Nielsen in the lead is a joy to watch. Even the crap 90s, even the crap 90s Naked Gun wannabe films like Spy Hard,
Dracula Dead and Loving It.
That's not great. That's like Mel Brooks' low point. Like, I say that as a man who adores, knowing it's not his best, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Robin Hood Men in Tights is fucking excellent, and I will fight anyone who has a different opinion.
He dared
Maybe
to
not
kill
physically.
a king's dare.
Maybe not physically with fists, but I will fight them in some fashion. Thumb war, maybe arm wrestle. I know, duel of minds.
Hey, Blinken.
Debate club.
Hold the reins, man. Did you just say Abe Lincoln? I didn't say Abe Lincoln, I said hey Blinken. Hold the reins, man. How do they know who Abe Lincoln is? They're existing several hundred years prior! Oh.
I clapped! I clapped when I saw it!
I'm gonna come back next week for a brand new episode of the Big Damn Cast, where we'll be talking about that time I found one of them in my bowl of Cheerios.
I'm just gonna have a lie down, Chris.
Some say it's the healthy way.
I'm just gonna go to sleep right here on the floor.
And while he's sleeping, I'm gonna plant this tracker in his mucal membrane. Now, what's the best point of entry?
Oh, madam!